Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Teofimo Lopez is going the Adrien Broner route. What I mean by that is throwing his career away. All the talent in the world, but he can't shut up. Can't get his life together outside the boxing ring. And when it comes to boxing, because he won't shut up, he has burnt a lot of bridges. Adrien Broner he says he's about billions, right? I truly believe Adrien Broner could have become a billionaire. I think right now Adrien Broner could be sitting on $2-3 billion from boxing alone. Everything would have been, it was already happening at Adrien Broner's feet, man. He had charisma, he had the personality, he had the smile, he was funny, he was crazy, he could fight. People liked him. But he allowed his attitude and his mouth to burn bridges and get him in trouble, and ultimately ran into Marcos Maidana and was never really able to get his career going. And we just kind of saw how in his personal life, man, things just spiraled out of control, and he is where he is today. And when I'm watching Teofimo Lopez, I feel like Teofimo Lopez is going the same direction. So to me, it's like it's almost like a face-to-face, the two of them staring at each other. But Teofimo should be looking and seeing Adrien Broner. Looking back at him, I think Adrien Broner should talk to him. If they're friends, I don't know the relationship, but Teofimo Lopez is blowing it big time. I don't even have anything funny to say. I love the joke. Sometimes I'll add a little shit to facts, stretch it a little bit, get you guys worked up. Everyone knows I don't have a favorite fighter. I don't give a shit. I like to argue both points of the discussion and play devil's advocate. But when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, first thing I thought of today, I was like, this dude is goddamn today's Adrien Broner, man. All of that boxing talent and throwing this shit away. Now, Teofimo Lopez, he still kind of has a chance, 22-1. Of course, he beat Lomachenko. And he beat Comey. Those are his two biggest wins. I know he beat Josh Taylor. I don't really count that. Josh Taylor was at 40 too long. Jermaine Ortiz, to me, if Jermaine Ortiz threw 15 more punches around, he would have won the fight. But he was able to beat Ortiz. But he's a two-division world champion, lightweight and junior welterweight. Was able to defend his WBO title against Arnold Barbosa in May. Didn't look that impressive, but he got the job done. But some of the concerns for Teofimo Lopez is he's had some inconsistent performances. When you look at the way he's been ranting and raving, and also his in-ring performances, there's a lot of public doubts. And even with Teo, I still think he asked himself the question we heard him ask after he fought Sandor Martin: do I still got it? Remember that moment? Also, there's clashes with his own team. Now, despite some erratic behaviors, a few underwhelming outings, look, he's still in the headlines, but for the wrong things. The setbacks like the Kambosos loss, then being able to kind of bounce back and be in a good position. Well, it looks like he's taking another setback, a major setback. Now, when you compare him to Adrien Broner, I mean, you're talking about Adrien Broner had all the talent, just like Teofimo Lopez. But the turbulence came, and the turbulence took Adrien Broner under. The turbulence is here right now, and it's got a hold of Teofimo Lopez in his career. He needs to pay attention. Broner, 35-5-1, he hasn't looked elite since 2013, to be honest with you. 4-division champ. A lot of his success came early. But you watch him like Teofimo. There's some concerns for Teofimo, the direction he's going. But with Adrien Broner, it was actually a downfall. Legal issues, weight problems, discipline went out the window. Losses to Maidana, Garcia, Pacquiao, and Blair Cobb put the beans on him. So when it comes to that public perception of a guy like Broner, he's almost like a cautionary tale his career reached a point where he was making more headlines outside the ring than inside the ring. And now you've seen with Teofimo Lopez, same thing. Most of the conversation about him isn't about how great of a fighter he is, how outstanding he looked in the ring, the next fight he has coming up. Most of the conversation about him is about crap that he's doing outside of the ring, from the racial stuff to disrespecting Turkey, disrespecting Saudi, thinking he's bigger than what he is, issues with his promotional team, everything. Issues in his personal life, disrespecting his wife, ex-wife, whatever's going on is going on. But what I'm saying is he's making headlines, okay? So to me, his career is very volatile. Adrien Broner's career was very volatile, and Adrien Broner's career was ruined by Adrien Broner. Teofimo Lopez is ruining his career, but it's not ruined yet. But it's being ruined as we speak. He has an opportunity here. And I think whatever decision Teofimo Lopez makes is going to be very pivotal to whether he continues to win, remain relevant, put on big performances, get big fight purses, or do like Adrien Broner and decline. And the decline, he's going to have to just own it. Because everything that Teofimo Lopez is doing to himself that's adversely affecting his career, the shit's self-inflicted. So he's got to get focused and avoid becoming another what could have been. And you know what? Roy Jones Jr. was one of the best fighters ever. You can't teach somebody to fight the way Roy Jones Jr. fought. But when I listen to Roy Jones Jr., I watched this shit with him and Mayweather going back and forth. Roy Jones Jr. has a little, in my opinion, I think he has a little bit of, what could I have been if I didn't continue fighting after John Ruiz and won the heavyweight championship? What if I would have stopped there? Everyone would have seen me as something greater than how they perceive me now. What affected Roy Jones wasn't poor choices in his personal life, wasn't disrespecting people, nothing like that. But that feeling he had of, man, you know what could have been, I think that's the same thing that Broner is going to be feeling. But remember, Roy Jones, what he did was self-inflicted too by stripping all that muscle off. But Roy Jones did it. Everything in his career was clean. What I mean, he wasn't disrespecting people, turning people off, putting all of his personal and professional trials and tribulations out there for people to comment on. But again, although he tried to do everything right, he still is struggling with this, what could have been. And I know for a fact, Adrien Broner, they made money, but I still know he has a lot, there's some, what could I have been if? And I think Teofimo Lopez is going the same direction. What could I have been if? Career's volatile, but not ruined yet. But he's going to have to figure out what he's doing, because Turki Al-Sheikh has blacklisted him. That's not just a hiccup, you know what I'm saying? This isn't just a temporary thing where we're just going to kind of take our schedule where we're planning on incorporating Teofimo Lopez and just put it on hold. No, the man's blacklisted from any Turki Al-Sheikh event. That's a problem, man. Like, that's a seismic shift in his career trajectory. You know what I mean? He was up away, making that Riyadh money. You know what I'm saying? Making Arab money, all that shit. Gone now. Because he can't shut his mouth. Talking about the Prophet Muhammad. Talking about Turki Al-Sheikh. Talking about Saudi. You can't do that. Man. You can't do that. Anybody would take offense to that. And I think these fighters, it's like when Turki Al-Sheikh finally unveiled himself to the public. I did a video where I should have took time to pull it up to show you just where I'm saying this. I said it was a mistake for Turki Al-Sheikh to come down and let the whole world know who he is and see who he is. Should have stayed behind the scenes like Al Heyman. But he comes out here, he's rubbing elbows with these guys. He's got a little bit of sense of humor and stuff like that, but they don't understand the prestigious position, or I don't think they care about the prestigious position that Turki Al-Sheikh holds when it comes to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and what his purpose is, what he's been charged to do. So they come and say crazy shit, not understanding they're very fortunate to even be within arm's reach of someone of his capacity. Like Turki Al-Sheikh, look, forget the boxing. Turki Al-Sheikh is a big deal. And these guys, they're not showing him the respect that I think he deserves because of his position. Now, some of y'all aren't going to understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying you got to like a person, but because of his position and what he does for Saudi Arabia, and then what he's doing in his position for sports and boxing, you got to respect his position. And to come out here and say the stuff that Teofimo Lopez has been saying, it's just a problem. Now he has this huge financial fallout. For that Barbosa fight, Teofimo Lopez, it's reported that he earned like $10 million. Now, you know, if he was fighting on any other fight card, he would never make that kind of money. Paydays like that are rare outside of Saudi-backed fight cards. Teofimo Lopez was out there complaining about making $1 or $2 million fighting out there for Top Rank. He's about how he brought Bud Light to Top Rank and he did this and ESPN and the deals, and he felt like he should be compensated. He's been out here disgruntled for a long time. Well, you finally got the paydays that you want, and now you're sitting here still running your mouth and going crazy. And I'm not here to disrespect him or clown. I'm just saying he needs help. And you need to look at Adrien Broner. Adrien Broner, it's in my opinion, could have been a multi-billionaire. That fella, everyone liked him. Casuals, A-listers, the hip-hop world, R&B, country singers, all other countries, everyone liked Adrien Broner. Because of his personality, his charisma. He's the life of the party, and he got busy. But he ruined everything. Now, Teofimo Lopez is, look, you've got limited access to premium matchmaking now. Turki Al-Sheikh's tentacles it reaches across to all promoting platforms, even in PBC now. He's everywhere. So I'm not sure what Teofimo Lopez is going to do, but he's going to kind of come out and apologize. But I'll tell you what, when you start disrespecting, in Islam especially, the Prophet Muhammad, I mean, let me tell you, man, sometimes ain't no coming back from that. And I'm telling you from firsthand experience growing up, with my background, I don't get into that, but I'm just telling you, I have a good idea of how a person who happens to be a Muslim can feel when a bozo comes out here and decides they want to say certain things, in particular about the Prophet Muhammad. Even joking about the name, like that's a no-no. But, he did what he did, so he got to deal with the consequences. But being excluded means Lopez is just going to miss out on high-profile, high-paying opportunities. He should have took the Devin Haney fight. Talking about 10, 11 million. He wanted to get the 20 million like Ryan Garcia. He wanted to get the bigger money. Now he's getting nothing. The ship has sailed. Everybody else is getting active, getting fights lined up, and he's there still looking crazy. Not good, man. Jaron Ennis, he can kiss that fight goodbye. Turki Al-Sheikh pulled the plug on him. Social media outbursts. Any opportunity to try to unify. If Turki Al-Sheikh is putting on fights with champions, Teofimo Lopez won't get those opportunities. And for those of you saying, what a sanction about it, you're going to make sure, man, shit. Money talks, BS walks. Watch them find a way to come up with some clause or something that says fighters saying something about religion or being disparaging or anything. They're going to have a code of ethics. They're going to have a set of guidelines fighters have to follow just to come back and be able to strip Teofimo Lopez. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened. But the bottom line is he's going to be unavailable for big-time fights and big-time paydays. You know, industry isolation is what he's facing because Turki Al-Sheikh has got the connections. Just like Puff Daddy. Y'all see that the lead prosecutor for Puff Daddy's case got fired from the U.S. something of attorneys. I don't know, but she was fired from a very prestigious position she held. So what I'm getting at is your ass can be isolated depending on the person who you're picking a fight with and who they know and the power they have. But you can't disrespect a person's country, religion. Those are deal breakers. It doesn't just create like a personal issue between the two. That shit is diplomatic. Turki Al-Sheikh can't come back to Saudi Arabia, allow a guy like anyone to disrespect Saudi, disrespect the religion, and continue working with them. You know, the boxing global landscape, Turki Al-Sheikh can deal with a lot of nonsense, but you can't do that, especially disrespect Saudi Arabia. Turki Al-Sheikh can't allow that. He has a reputation. He has to show the right influence, and he has people he has to answer to. You hear him talk about all the time. I have two big mountains behind me, the king and the prince. He can't come back there and they're asking him, why you paying this guy to fight when he disrespected our country and he disrespected our ways, our customs, and he disrespected our religion. Now, Turki Al-Sheikh is in a precarious position. So, yeah, you better expect other promoters, even Eddie Hearn, who's always looking to cherry pick a fighter for next to nothing. Even he's not going to sit there and touch him. No one's going to touch him because they'd rather be aligned with Riyadh season than aligned with Teofimo Lopez, which makes sense. And they'd be very reluctant to work with Teofimo because the backlash and loss of Saudi funding, they don't want to deal with that. But, it is what it is. Teofimo Lopez, in my opinion, I think that bozo's been fired. He even tried to make a joke. I just got fired, guys. Making fun of Turki Al-Sheikh and all that crap, man. So I'm looking for a new job. You can't, well, he may have to go find a new job now if he can't come out here and fight these big fights, and especially if they find a way to strip him of his title. I'm just telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. I don't know. I wonder what contract he signed with Turki Al-Sheikh. But I do know slander, defamation, maybe there's some breach of contract on Teofimo's end. I don't know. But I guess, the question is, can he recover? He's got talent. He's got a belt. But I just think without Saudi back in, Top Rank don't really want to mess with him. I think he needs to figure out a way to rebuild. Even Tank Davis didn't say nothing crazy about Saudi Arabia, about the religion. He was just like, give me some Ferraris or something. But he didn't go that far. And Teofimo Lopez is not Gervonta Davis as far as status. But maybe some U.S. promoter, man, who's not really aligned with Riyadh season, like maybe a BLK Prime will want to work with him. But then again, I doubt that, seeing that he's said so many, things about, black fighters and monkeys and bananas and all that bullshit, So now he's sitting here. I guess it's kind of his antics were kind of a banana peel for his career, right? Because now he's off the island and shit. Anyway, I'm sure there's other fighters who bounce back from similar fallouts. I don't know. I guess the question is where would Teofimo Lopez go? Like, what new promotional home could he pivot to? I don't know. But You better pay attention to Adrien Broner. Because Adrien Broner had all the talent in the world. He just didn't have the discipline and the right attitude. And Teofimo Lopez has all the talent in the world. Doesn't seem to quite have the discipline he needs and the attitude he needs to continue to thrive in boxing, because he, like I said, his ass has just been, kicked off the island. And now he's out there in deep waters, and he's got to swim and figure out a way to try to get back on. And right now, Turk Al-Sheikh ain't trying to let him on. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.